G'day friends and fans, welcome to Dave Talks Off Ukraine War Update for the 1st of February 2026. Russia has advanced. 3 towns, dots on the map, have been claimed. And this information comes from the Ukrainian news. There's also power outages, but Ukraine isn't blaming Russia. We'll get to the cause of the power outages. It is a terrible day for Ukraine without the war, as it suffers a heavy winter. But they're not the only one. Power outages not only affected Ukraine, but other countries. But of course, the predominant focus is on Ukraine. Now, of course, they announced strikes, right? No strikes on energy infrastructure. And you can see Ukraine carried out no strikes. But Russia did carry out strikes on transport hubs. Here we go. Russia making advances in the buffer zone, which is an incredibly slow grind. Now, they haven't done anything in Kupiansk or Lyman for a while. In fact, most of the front line. Why am I blanking out? Most of the front line. Most of the front line is cold and static and has been for some time. Fighting in various areas. Russia has made small advances here and there, but nothing significant. This area, of course, remains a ad hoc zigzag goat track with sporadic fighting, very little movement. But the Russians have made a significant advance here and forwarded thrust into a probing attack into Ternuvate. Turn. So they overran the Ukrainians here in a few short days, yeah. They've taken a few other positions, but this area here is not quite taken, and they did sacrifice some of their previous gains to Ukraine doing it, but they made gains in other areas as well. Now, again, there's been no attacks on energy, but there were attacks on railway and other transport infrastructure. The major cause of the power failure is the cold. Cold snap fell to minus 14 Celsius. Tomorrow is going to be worse, with maybe the temperatures rising through the week, but they will fluctuate, and the Ukrainian winter is expected to last till at least March, though it could technically technically ends in March, right? But the thaw can technically begin mid-February, but it's expected to actually begin in March. It's expected to be a long and tough winter, and it's the toughest winter in modern Ukrainian's history. It's actually now officially tougher than the 2022 winter. Now, this is a file photo from yesterday. This is a file photo, period, but wasn't even a factory that Russia hit. What was it? Wasn't even enterprise. It was railway yard. So could be a railway yard, but different reports have different. Yeah. Ukrainian battlefield monitoring deep state. That's the organization who does this map. It's Ukrainian. Have confirmed Russia's advance in several areas near Hanovsky and other areas as well. Diplomacy continues. Lawmakers want to use more powerful weapons. They want to drive home. They're actually pressuring Putin to do more damage to Ukraine, right? Putin wanted a light to medium war. He wanted a slow grind, and Russian lawmakers increasingly are saying, no, we want you to pull the pin on this. You pulled the pin, roll this grenade. Now Zelensky's not a priority target, but whatever will achieve the goals of the special military operation as discussed in the Russian Security Council. Right? Those in the Duma in the know, the rest are just being told. The general gist is these are the 4 states. But most now pretty much rumors coming out that, yeah, this buffer zone is not a priority, right? They want the focus shift back to Donetsk, and they can sacrifice, right? Maybe northern Zaporozhye. There is different conversations being had. But despite this, the fact that they're even having these conversations is a good sign that there are deals to be made if the right people get off their ass, stop wanting to make this peace deal about them and their little parades and their little, include me. All right, so most of this is nonsense, irrelevant, right? Ukraine lying about what was hit. They've actually stated by law before that they'll never tell you the military targets that were hit. It's pointless, right? Anybody telling you Ukraine military targets is using old information, okay? You can look it up for yourself. There's a lot of fake YouTubers out there who are getting away because they're either funded by Ukraine or the British government to tell you lies. Most of it's the UK media. But the official count is 24 settlements. Right, most of the settlements 10 were liberated in Zaporozhye. Right, this is Battle Group East and Dnieper. Right, these include the takings. This includes those today. There's today, right at noon, the end of the military month, and the beginning of the new month. Right. Sorry, this report came out in noon. So these were actually, though it's the new month, these are included in the old month because they were, these are old battles. These are yesterday's news, right? These are, most news is between 24 and 48 hours old when we get it. Now, Russia has unveiled Su-35, Su-37. They've unveiled the modified and built a new helicopter plant for the Alligator. I think that's, that's the attack helicopter 52. They are scrapping more MiL-24s. They are pumping out more Book 2s. These are air defenses. They are speeding up the production of the the S550? Yeah, S550A. And they're working on the B. The B is a direct satellite killer, though. So, yeah. Now, Valery Grozhnov is the chief of staff, and he's announced that, 300 square kilometers, like, that's nothing. But 'tis what it is, right? Then they just, air defenses and all this other stuff, yeah. Alright, so, Russia's made moves, but yes, now, Ukraine has not blamed Russia, but the technological failure started with a failure of a link in Romania and Moldavia, right? That there was a disruption, and this created a cascade across Ukraine's fragile power grid. A lot of it is broken, frozen. The ceramics, the oil. They still use a lot of the old oil transformers. You know, they are. But don't forget, a lot of these new modern systems just can't stand up to the cold. Electricity is actually generating heat, okay, and stress. It's actually vibrating the material, okay. This stuff, copper wire, they're constantly very fragile, constantly breaking. But emergency supplies were immediately flowing into Ukraine, so there's lots more of the Ukraine fund is gone, and because Zelensky won't end this, a lot of Ukrainians have taken to shelters. The number of homes without heating, of course, has dramatically increased. But as you can see, most of Ukraine is intact. Russia has not done a lot of damage to most Ukrainian cities. They've mostly hit the same places over and over again. Rail, factories, only certain malls, ones that have been converted into secret, allegedly secret drone storage sites, because a lot of the malls in Ukraine are closed permanently. But Zelensky has given a tearful speech about the state of Ukraine, of course. NATO must step up and do more. But Russia has said that it hardline no to deployment of European or NATO troops. Notice he didn't say US. Anything. Whether it's a French corporal with NATO or EU, or just a white flag, it doesn't matter. It's game on, right? Russia has said this time and time again, right? Because they remember, right, this is the creep, okay? NATO did this before, right? How they creeped into Poland, how they creeped into Estonia, right? Oh, just regional security. We're just here for some exercises and joint rescue operations. 6 months later, there's a little rescue base. And then, boom, NATO just starts building without pretty much steam and funding any politician who will just green light and rubber stamp. Whether you believe it's a right or wrong, right? It does not appear to be right. NATO does not appear to be a righteous organization with a set of rules, a set of standards, doesn't uphold any of its promises, and is so over-reliant on the US. But, the bloc cannot stop the US takeover of Greenland. Yeah. Already, right? It's not a negotiation to stop the US takeover. It's how much they're going to get in compensation for the US takeover. It's extraterritorialism, right? Technically, Canada should have said, hey, this is ours, but they didn't. Right? Canada never stepped up. They signed away Greenland's rights, and most of the Greenlanders, well, our special status and all our subsidies and all the special privileges they get, of course. You know? But at the end of the day, the majority appear, right? Well, the Danish politicians and the holiday makers want their little special getaway. There are people apparently who do like to holiday to Greenland, apparently. But NATO, has been negligent. The 1 minute they say the Arctic is not under threat from Russia or China, the next thing there's secret reports leaking about how there is no submarines in the NATO has no submarines in the Arctic. Right, they're all in the Baltic right now. That's a huge embarrassment. Right, the closest US response is allegedly the Virginia. Takes 5 days. The Russians only need 3 days. So when a Russian sub sets sail, right, it has a 2-day advantage. That's more than enough time to travel under the ice, set up near Greenland, run missile drills, launch, and leave before the American submarine intercepts it. And the Americans can't set subs day in, day out off the coast of Greenland because there's no listening posts, no backup, no special facilities for submarines. Basically, also is a black hole in radar coverage. And even if BMUs and NORAD were upgraded tomorrow, it's still the fact that there's always been that hole, right? They've relied on backscatter technologies that are and early warning systems in Europe, which can no longer be relied on, right? A lot of the European technology. Now, they're just saying, right? If A and B goes down, there's no C, right? That Trump is doing a new ABC with the line of defense, right? The long range detection, which is early warning. Then you got your tracking and your intercepts, right? But in order for the intercepts to be functional, you need layers, right? And Greenland puts a big hole in those layers. Now, Russia, this is why NATO wants to be in Ukraine, so it can put pressure, retaliatory. They claim it's for retaliatory purposes only, but no, 6 minutes to Moscow, that's an unacceptable, right? Takes 11 minutes, apparently, for the whole system. It's all set up for intermediate range warfare, right? Huge buffer zones between each other, but particularly Britain wants to park on Russia's doorstep to strategically threaten them. Sooner or later, Europe's going to go too far. Zelensky, of course, is a dead man walking. Good riddance to bad rubbish. He is... I don't know how anybody can see him in positive light. He is not a hero. He's a coward in a bunker. It's easy when you're protected. It's easy when you're not doing the fighting. It's easy when you're a gutless psychopath who does not care about your country, right? To stand there and be defiant. It's easy to be a protester when there are no long-term consequences of being an asshole. Go be a protester in China. See how long you last. You wouldn't even last a second in North Korea. You'd be in prison so fast you wouldn't know where your head was. Until you see the ground coming up rapidly and going, how did that happen? Boom. And then the lights go out. These weak people are dragging society down because all they want is attention. And as long as you keep giving it to them, they keep lapping it up. Right? They keep lashing out. But sooner or later, right, you have to accept the fact, right, that you will not control the world, because here's the dirty secret about empires. Empires end up getting controlled by their vassal states. Constantly having to manage the fires, putting out the little fires, and constantly micromanaging the states to keep them happy. So thank you all for watching. Get Ukraine out of your pocket, because that's all they want. They're a woman. All they want is to put their hand in your pocket. They only love you. Me love you long time. I'm Yanya from Ukraine. Me love you long time. But that's where we're at. Okay, the Ukraine war is slowly coming to a grinding halt. And I've said this before, if Ukraine can hold them, and it's game over. But if Zelensky wants a counter-offensive or a build-up or full general war, yeah, Putin will have to give in and allow more strikes on Ukraine. Right? He's under constant pressure to start smashing Ukraine. So, yeah, heavy tanks, heavy offensives, more drone strikes, more missile strikes. So, you can support the channel on Ko-Fi, Patreon, buy my books, buy merch. All my links in the link tree description below or in my profile. Thank you for watching. Please support the channel. See you in the next video, and bye for now.